G'day folks, this is Tony, aka Crypto Aussie, back with another video. And today I want to talk about the drip garden. Now, I've already done a video about explaining what the drip garden is, so if you're not sure what it is or how it works, then make sure you go back and check that one out. But today I want to dig a little deeper into what's going on with the drip garden at the moment, because I see a lot of people who have invested in the drip garden and who are watching the value of their returns go down, and they're wondering what the hell's happening with it. And most of the available information, though, is not helpful. You've got the leaders of the Forex cult who yell, "Trust Forex, trust the great leader," and brand anyone who even asks a question as a fudder. In fact, they get banned from the Telegram group, and not helpful, not helpful. Then you have the naysayers who are screaming, "Scam, scam," without being able to explain why they say it's a scam. And in fact, I think to them, anything they don't understand or isn't making them $1 million an hour is a scam. Also not helpful. And then you've got a bunch of well-meaning YouTubers who are trying to reassure people. Now, these are the folks who ramble on about, the drip price. Oh, yeah, I think it's going down, but yeah, I reckon it's going to go up, and, diamond hands. They also, talk about Forex Shark's reputation. They say, oh, don't sell, you're going to regret it, without really explaining anything why, blah, blah, blah. A lot of talking, but frankly, a lot of it is encouragement with no substance. And in my opinion, that just adds to the confusion. So I don't want to, I'm not here to badmouth anyone in particular, but I just think there's a lack of real information about this, and a lack of understanding about it, which causes all sorts of issues. And I find that enormously frustrating. So in this video, I'm going to try and cut through a lot of that noise and shed some light on what is actually going on for you. Okay, so let's dive in. And first of all, let's make sure that we understand the basic value mechanics. So here on the drip BUSD garden, your garden produces seeds. Here's the seeds that I have produced since I last compounded almost 10 million. To convert the seeds into actual money, before I go to that, just hit 10 million, awesome, woohoo! You can compound them or harvest them, right? Now, to convert the seeds into actual money, 2 steps. You've got to harvest them by clicking this button here. So I could harvest those 10 million seeds right now. I'm not going to, but I could. And if I did that, I would have drip BUSD LP showing up in my wallet. Now, there's not a hell of a lot I can do with drip BUSD LP. So to get actual money, I would need to convert that drip BUSD into actual money. And so, for example, one way I could do that would be to split the pair over on PancakeSwap, and then sell the drip half. So when I split the pair, I'd get half drip, half BUSD, same value. I could sell the drip for BUSD, and then I have the whole lot in BUSD. Right? So that's a second step where I need to take the drip BUSD LP and I need to convert it into something that I can actually use with real value, which is BUSD as an example. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details of how to do all that now, but if you want me to do so, if you want to, I could do a tutorial on it or something like that, then just let me know in the comments. Happy to explain how all that can be done. But for now, the main point I want to make is to convert your seeds into actual money. You need to harvest them into drip BUSD LP, and then you need to convert that drip BUSD LP into money. 2 steps, right? So those 2 steps, the fact that there is two steps, means that there are 2 drivers of your seed value. And those are the conversion rates you get at each step. So how much drip BUSD LP you get for your seeds when you harvest them, and how much money you end up with when you convert your drip BUSD LP into money. So let's look at each of those in turn. Let's start with the drip BUSD LP converting it into money. So that's essentially the drip BUSD LP price. And that is obviously driven by the price of drip itself. So it's a combination of half drip, half BUSD. BUSD is a stable coin, so it doesn't change price in terms of dollars. Drip does. So the value of your drip BUSD LP in stable coins or BTC or real dollars is driven primarily by the price of drip itself. And we know that the drip price has been falling. Here's a graph. Let's make it slightly shorter than that. So over the last couple of months, say, We hit an all-time high in January, late January, just over 2 months ago. And since then, it's been pretty much one-way traffic, 31.61 right now. This is on the 1st of April here in Australia. So it's been falling, right? So that means that the price of DRIP has been falling. That means the price of DRIP BUSD LP has been falling, right? So that's been a negative impact on the value that you're getting from your DRIP garden. That said, this driver, this half of the equation, I'm not particularly worried about. Despite this really clear, constant downtrend, I'm actually pretty bullish on the price of DRIP. I have another video on why that's the case, so feel free to check that out. I'll link it in the description below, explain why I think that DRIP has a huge amount of upside. I won't go into it in detail right now, but the main point I want to make is that that is one of the key drivers, but I'm not too worried about it. I think the more important one to consider is the value of seeds in DRIP BUSD LP. So the amount of DRIP BUSD LP you get when you harvest your seeds. And so what drives that? The answer to that is there's an algorithm in the contract that drives it. Now, I don't know the exact mechanics of that algorithm, but I do know some things about it. And the key element that people need to understand is that there is a decay factor in there. So in other words, the value of seeds in terms of DRIP BUSD LP is designed to go down over time. So again, it's designed to go down. It's a decay factor. You're meant to get less DRIP BUSD LP for your seeds per seed over time. It's not designed to go to zero, like it's a curve, but it may approach zero in the long term. So it could get pretty low over a long period of time. Now, why? Why is this the case? It's because the developers didn't want a protocol that rewarded just the early adopters at the expense of people who come in later. So they decided to increase the buying power of new capital over time to make it fairer for people who enter later. And the way they increase the buying power is by reducing the price to buy in. Now, to buy in, you've got to buy seeds with your money. So to reduce the price to buy in and increase the buying power, they reduce the price of the value of seeds. And you can see this is pretty clearly explained here on the website. If you go down here, most protocols are like the red line, where huge amount of buying power early on. You get in on a whitelist or pre-sale, or even earlier than that. You get massive value, and then over time, it gets more and more expensive to buy in until it's ridiculously expensive down here. This is for a successful protocol. And they didn't like that idea. So what they said is, we're going to reduce the buying power for the early people. Still good. So it's still good to get in early. It's going to go down initially, but then over time, it's going to go up. And this is a decay factor, right? This is where, if you want to buy 10 plants to get in, the amount of money you need to spend, it's a constant amount of seeds. So 10 plants is a constant amount of seeds. But the amount of money, so buying power, the amount of money that you need to buy those 10 plants worth of seeds reduces. So your buying power goes up, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if not, if you've got any questions about that. But the point I want to make is that it is designed to decay over time. Now, they also said that they also said that it's still better to get in early because the decay factor is designed to be less than the rate of increase of your returns you can get by compounding. So the idea is, you get in, you get your seeds, you compound your seeds, you continually grow your plants, and that will grow your value over time faster than the decay in the value of seeds reduces it, right? So net doesn't go up by quite as much, but it still goes up. So the question is, has that played out? And the answer is initially yes. Over the first few months of this contract, it did play out like that. However, in the last month or so, it hasn't. It's actually gone down. So I've actually graphed some of this. If you look here, the blue line here is LP per day. So this is actually exactly what I'm talking about. The value of the DRIP BUSD LP that I'm producing per day. Now I'm compounding all the way through here. So I'm continually growing my plants and growing my seeds. Compound. But the amount of LP that my entire garden produces has gone down over that time. It's this side, so it's gone from well over 4 to maybe 3.7, actually close to 5 down to 3.7, and that's because the decay has been faster than I've been able to compound. And when you add on the other factor that I mentioned before, the amount of money you can get for your drip BUSD LP when you sell it, or split it and sell it, it's gone down a lot faster because the drip prices has fallen. So the combination of those two things means the real dollar value of what I'm producing in my garden, $150 per day or more, actually about 160 here. It's now about under 70, right? And that's even though I'm compounding. Back here, I had 900 plants. Now I've got how many? 2,580, right? So compounding, increasing my garden, more and more garden, but less value being produced on a daily basis. And that is the core of the problem that a lot of people are having. They've realized that they can't outpace the decay. They realize that they can't outpace the decay by compounding. And so it's caused people to get really worried about it. They're saying, well, if I'm only going to produce less and less and less over time, then I'm going to start withdrawing as much as I can because I need to get as much out as I can while I've still got a reasonable amount of value being produced, right? So that's what has been then causing people to withdraw. And you can actually see over here, that's caused the contract balance to go down over time. That's because people are withdrawing more than they're compounding, right? Now, let me address a very common misunderstanding here. I've heard it said in Telegram groups and elsewhere that the number of plants you have impacts your ability to be able to outpace the decay. So people saying, oh, you've got to get over a certain number of plants and then you'll be able to compound faster than the decay. That is bullshit. The number of plants you have is irrelevant to your ability to outpace the decay because they're both measured in percentages that are the same for everyone, right? So everyone has the ability to compound at the same rate. Everyone gets 3% per day on their seeds. And everyone's seed value decays at the same rate. So, the amount that seed value goes down, it's the same seed value for everyone. So it decays at the same rate for everyone. So when that decay rate is higher for everyone than the compound rate for everyone, you lose value. Doesn't matter how many plants you have or how often you compound, your value is going to go down. More plants just means you're generating more seeds each day, which means you can plant more plants each day, but it also means that you're losing more in absolute seed value every day because that decay rate is applied to a higher number of seeds and plants. It's the same. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If not, let me know in the comments and I'll try and explain it in a different way. But the point I want to make is, doesn't matter whether you have 10 plants or 10,000 plants, the decay will impact you at the same rate, and you will not, at the moment, not be able to compound fast enough no matter how many plants you got to cover that decay. Okay, with that settled, the next question is, why is the decay outpacing compounding? Now, it's not because the decay rate has suddenly increased or because the developers have lied to you about how this thing works. If you look at the graph over here, we're down here. If you look at the graph here, this graph is, it's built into the contract, and they haven't changed that. It's the same as it always has been since the start. It's not because, and so that's not the reason why they haven't suddenly changed that. They haven't lied to you about how it works. It's not a rug pull or a scam. This thing is actually working the way it was designed to work. But it's because of the other factors that are driving the algorithm that have compounded on top of the decay rate that are causing the value of seeds to decay faster than we can compound. Now, one of those is the price of drip, right? So the price of drip impacts on the decay, on the value of seeds, how that algorithm works. And that, as we know, mentioned before, has been steadily declining. You can see that pretty clearly here, right? Another is the contract balance. And that, as I said before, has also been steadily declining. You can see it here. People are pulling money out. So the contract balance is going down as people see the value of seeds go down, and they're choosing to harvest rather than compound. And so that is also impacting on the value at which seeds go down, less contract available. So what that means is the algorithm is actually working as it was designed, but it's hit an almost a perfect storm. The inbuilt decay rate is just doing its thing, but the price of drip is declining steadily. The contract balance is declining steadily because people are pulling as much money as they can and sort of panicking a little bit and creating a self-fulfilling prophecy or a doom loop. And those things together, the standard decay rate plus the declining price of drip plus the declining contract balance, are combining to push the declining seed value above the compound rate. That's what's happening. So we are causing it ourselves, those of us who are in there by withdrawing too much, and that is helping to push the decay rate above the compound rate. But I get it. I understand why people are harvesting. They want to get as much value out now as they can, because if the current trend continues, then the value they'll be able to get out tomorrow will be less than the value they'll be able to get out today. And the next day will be less again. And the day after that will be less again. So they're thinking, I'll get it out now while it's still a reasonably decent amount. And to be honest, when I first noticed this, I did the same thing. I did exactly the same thing. So I've got here, this is, where are we? I've recorded every single compound and harvest that I've done since February. So if you look back here, this column here is compounding, this column here is harvesting. When I first realized what was going on here was back in sort of early March, and I started to harvest a little bit here, compound a little bit more, and then I harvested a whole chunk all the way through here, stuck on 1,254 plants for quite a while. But since March 9th, so what's that, 3 weeks ago now, I have done nothing but compound, one there on March 14th, and one on March 16th, and then nothing but compound. So I have been compounding all the time, multiple times a day, as you can see, compounding up to now. I've got those two together, 2,580 plants. 2,580 plants. So I have been doing that. I've gone back to 100% compounding for the last couple of weeks. Now, why have I done that? Because I believe the price of drip will go back up. And if I believe the price of drip will go back up, then it follows that the price of drip BUSD LP will also go back up. And the seed value in drip BUSD LP will, if not go up, at least slow. And that means that I'll be able to outpace it again. So the decay factor will stay the same. But if the price goes up, then that will by itself reduce the amount at which my seeds are losing value. And once people see that that's happening and they start to move from, like I did a couple of weeks ago, from harvesting back to compounding, then the contract balance is going to start to go back up again, and that will have another impact on the seed value, and that means that it will slow significantly. And it might even, if those factors drive strong enough, it might even end up going up a little bit. So it might offset completely the inbuilt decay rate. Does that make sense? So because of that, because I see that trigger and coming down the path, because I see that coming, then I am compounding now to make sure that I am building my nest egg as much as possible and making sure that when that happens, that I have a really, really solid garden that's producing really, really solid returns. So I know I sort of covered a lot there. So let me just summarize the way I see it. Very quickly, the algorithm is designed to reduce seed value but never go to zero. So even if the price continues to fall, then I'll still be able to get money out and perhaps even make a profit. Even if it goes really, really low, it'll just take a long time. If the drip price stabilizes, then that time frame will be much, much shorter. And if the drip price goes back up, even if it goes up slowly, then I'm going to make a massive profit because I'm compounding right now and I'm building that asset. And once that turns around, I'm going to make a huge profit. In fact, I've done some forecasts on this. And based on a stabilized and slowly rising drip price, which I think is the low case, and a reasonable rate of decay, I'll still 5x my money in this over the next 12 months. So 5x over 12 months, that's not a bad return. And if the drip price does better than that, if it starts to set new all-time highs before the end of the year, which I think is more likely than just sort of going back up slowly, then I'm going to absolutely crush it. So that is why I'm compounding. If on the other hand I go into full harvest mode now, then yes, I may get my money back. So I may be able to pull it out and get money back. But if and when the drip price turns around, I'm going to miss the upside. So I'm essentially making a bet on the price. Now, yes, there is risk. In fact, there's risk both ways, right? So I'm making a risk on the price turning around. The risk, if it doesn't turn around, is that I will have compounded a whole lot of seeds and price will have gone way down, and I've missed the chance to pull out money now when it was more valuable. But there's risk the other way as well. So if I start withdrawing it all now and I don't compound, I don't build the size of my garden, if the price does turn around, then I'm going to be in a much, much weaker position to make a really good return. So going both ways. But for me, given my strong conviction the price will rise, then continuing to compound to me seems like the smarter bet. So that's what I'm doing. Now, of course, this is all purely my personal opinion. You need to do your own research and make your own decisions. And I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. I'm just a guy on the internet, and all I'm doing is sharing my opinion purely for entertainment purposes. But I hope that helped to really help you understand what is going on with the drip garden right now, what is happening with the price, what's driving it. I think is really important. That clarity around those two separate drivers that you need to. Obviously, the drip price impacts both of them, but they're two separate conversion rates, and they both have an impact, right? So hopefully that helped you understand that a little bit better. If it did, or if you otherwise enjoyed this video, then please give it a like. Or comment below, and make sure you also hit the subscribe button to be notified every time a new video comes up. If you share my conviction on the drip price and you're inspired to get into the drip garden and earn some of that sweet passive income in the future, then there's a link in the description to do exactly that. Obviously, just there for your convenience. But feel free to use it, and hopefully I would be very grateful if you did get some benefit out of this video if you did that. You can also join my free email list where I provide ongoing commentary, tips, information, and offers related to building wealth and generating passive income with crypto. And if you want to take it to the next level beyond that, you might even be interested in joining the Sat Stackers Mastermind, where we constantly discuss opportunities like this and many, many others. At its heart, Sat Stackers is actually a small but extremely supportive group of crypto enthusiasts, including some very experienced and connected people in the industry who regularly bring us profitable opportunities before anyone else is aware of them. And that is a real competitive advantage, getting in early. Not everything's like the drip garden where they try and increase buying power over time. Most of the time, it's hugely profitable. It makes a lot of sense to get into good projects early. But to do that, you've got to find out about them. And the Sat Stacker Mastermind is an excellent way to do that. So the link for that is in the description if you're interested in that. The link for my email address is also in the description, as is the link for signing up to the drip garden, and I'll put the drip faucet one in as well. Or if you've got any questions about any of it, hit me up in the comments below if you want more info. That's it for this one. See you next time.